So we were just out, as you can see, we're in the mountains, and we were planning a really nice lunch, and Kathy and I were setting up the back tent off of the van, and out of nowhere, Mother Nature went berserk. The wind. There's a video. I'm sure she'll cut it. Kathy will cut it in here. The wind went crazy, and I'm freezing. And then we couldn't get the little thing off the car, and she had to cut it. So she's saying that this is good because is that the wind blowing the car?
That's the wind blowing
the van. Okay, so we're in like a heavy van right now, and the wind is blowing us. So we're talking about all the things. We're like, these have to be growth experiences, like learning about it before we hit the road on the van tour. Oh my gosh. Would it help if I did the other side? The van. So, like, what are some of you got the blankets and the tents and everything. You just threw it in the back. What are some of the worst conditions that you've been out in that you've learned from?
I was in the Sierra Nevada mountains.
A little louder.
I was in the Sierra Nevada mountains in August. Supposed to be a nice warm month, and when I started up the trail, it was 82 degrees. I was sweating, and all I had was a light jacket. 2 hours later, it was 34 and hailing, and that was pretty crazy. I've been in multiple hailstorms, and this is where there's no trees, so there's no escape from the hail. You just have to deal with it. So I've been in multiple hailstorms. I've been in unexpected snowstorms. I've been on top of Mount Baldy where there were 90-mile-an-hour winds, and I could barely stand up. And we had to go down a really steep trail because we couldn't go down the back road trail. So yeah, been in some stuff.
And then, of course, there was our last van trip where I was driving and I pulled the bumper off by accident. It was one of we were parked over one of those like concrete pylons, and there was a metal piece sticking out that I didn't notice because I was high up in the van. I didn't see it. So when I pulled back out, it pulled part of the bumper off. We kept hearing this weird dragging noise, and it turned out to be the bumper. And so I had to pull over and like snap it back into place. But then the wind started again, or we were driving really quickly, and so the bumper came off again. And that's when we found that good Samaritan who heard us coming down the street, and
because the bumper was dragging on the ground.
Yeah, so we've come across some unexpected things, and
By the way,
the
bumper's still being held on with zip ties, and they work great.
So her bumper's being held on with zip ties. So yeah, I mean, do I have concerns about going out on the van tour and hitting these unexpected things? Yes. I mean, when the first 2 trips that I went on with Kathy to the Sierras, we went camping. It was my first time camping. And then we went to Utah. We went to Zion, some amazing places. They were so, I mean, it was like, if you're going to go on a first trip, they were amazing first trips. And then you hit something like this, and all of a sudden I'm freezing and my nose is running, and she's trying to get the tent to not like pull off the back of her car, and I'm like, okay.
I can't believe it didn't break. I really can't believe the tent didn't break.
Well, so I'm going to be learning some stuff on the road, but the good thing is we can always be inside the van.
And we'll deal with it as it comes.
Deal with it as it comes. Yeah. I mean, I guess one of my biggest concerns about going on the van trip is being away from my parents. You know, I just feel like, God forbid something was to happen and we're on the road, so it's like I'm pulled between wanting to go out for 3 months and be on the road and live this dream and have this exciting adventure that we planned, and then there's part of me that's like, can I afford to leave them for 3 months? And chances are they're fine. Like, it was like when I went to Club Med right after I graduated college. It was my graduation present, and I wanted to be one of their team leaders. I forget what they called them, but you had to commit for 6 months, and I was so convinced that my acting career would like fall apart if I was not in town for 6 months. Well, like, 12 years later, and I missed out on that opportunity to go to Club Med. So I'm not going to miss this opportunity. I'm going to do it, but it's definitely it's in the back of my mind that I have concerns like, oh, but my sister's here.
And we'll deal with it. We'll come up with some plans. We'll come up with emergency plans. What if plans?
Huh. Anything else I need to be concerned about?
Nothing at all. No. Oh, no. We'll go through things one at a time.
One at a time. It's interesting. I was watching a video the other night, and a guy was saying how he wanted to be able to park his van anywhere, so he made really dark windows so that he could park in a parking lot where other cars were, and the police wouldn't bother him. So I guess if our van was like this, you could tell people were sleeping in it.
I have window coverings for the van, and I'm making new ones. No worries, you won't be able to tell. I'm also making a curtain to go across here so nobody would know we were in it.
Curtain's gonna be here. Yeah, because that's spooky, like when guys are looking in the window at night. I'm watching too much Grey's Anatomy where Jo lived in her car. That was like many seasons ago, so hopefully I'm not spoiling anything if you haven't watched Grey's Anatomy, but anyway, that was a while ago. She lived in her car, and yeah, like 2 women out on the road.
We'll be good.
I feel like we have nothing to fear from other van people because
nothing.
It's like almost like they are a very special community in themselves.
They will look out for you, just like backpackers look out for each other. They will actually come up to you and say, "Hey, I'll keep an eye on you." That'll be no problem. No problem at all.
I used to say that when I would go out on the boats, and everybody would wave to each other on the boat, whether you were in a yacht or a dinghy. You waved at each other, and I said, "Gosh, if we could be as kind to each other on land as we are on the boats, what a better world it would be." So now we've got backpackers, we've got van dwellers, people who live in vans. Are they the dwellers, or are they the?
Yeah, they're the dwellers.
Okay, we've got people who are out on boats. So basically, the problem are people in cars. Everybody else.
We'll be good. We'll be good. There's nothing to fear but fear itself.
So here are 3 lessons we learned today. 1, always check the weather before you leave and never trust the weather. 2, always make sure that you are prepared to eat in the van if you have to. So make sure that whatever you're bringing with you, that you can cook in the van. And number 3 is worst case scenario, you leave and you find another situation to put yourself in, because it is now raining and cold, and it was not supposed to hit for a while, and it hit like 2 hours before it was supposed to. So you can check the rain, but always have a backup plan.